So today we're going to dive into a story that's about way more than just cars. It's really a story of British identity, of two absolutely iconic brands, each born with a completely different soul that somehow, against all odds, found their way together. This is the story of Jaguar Land Rover. You know, you could boil down the entire history of these two brands into this one simple phrase, where elegance met endurance. It just perfectly captures this fusion of two powerful, almost contradictory ideas that define the company. On one side, you have the incredible, artful elegance of Jaguar, and on the other, the rugged, get-it-done endurance of Land Rover. So let's break down what those two souls really mean. For Jaguar, it was always about the art of performance, making cars that created a real sense of visual drama. Land Rover, though, it came from a completely different universe. The spirit of adventure, a brand that was literally forged in necessity, built for purpose, not for polish. To really get how these two totally opposite forces ended up together, we have to go way back to the very beginning, to a time when they were two completely separate, parallel British originals. For decades, their paths were on completely separate tracks, running parallel to each other. In 1922, William Lyons founded what would eventually become Jaguar. Fast forward a quarter century to 1947, and you have Maurice Wilks literally sketching the very first Land Rover in the sand on a beach. And then comes 1970, a year Land Rover would pretty much change the automotive world forever. Let's start with Jaguar. Its co-founder, William Lyons, he was driven by this core belief that beauty could actually be engineered. Style wasn't just some cherry on top, it was baked into the process. For Lyons, a car had to stir your soul before you even turn the engine on. This was performance you could see and feel. And then you've got Land Rover. I mean, its philosophy could not be more different. This wasn't born in some fancy design studio. It was forged in the sheer utility of post-war Britain. It was designed to be a tool, a practical, go-anywhere vehicle for farmers, for explorers. It was built to earn trust long before it ever thought about earning luxury status. Okay, so you have these two wildly different starting points. That brings us to the next chapter. This is where each brand had to go out and really prove its worth to the world and cement its own unique identity. For Jaguar, the challenge was pretty clear, right? They claimed to be all about performance, but how do you actually prove that a beautiful car is more than just a pretty face? How do you show the world that your performance is the real deal? Well, you prove it by becoming a giant killer on the racetrack. Jaguar went to the legendary 24 Hours of Le Mans back in the 1950s, not just to win trophies, but to earn credibility. They took on bigger rivals and beat them with intelligence, with superior aerodynamics, and just pure elegance. They proved that beauty and speed could absolutely win. Land Rover, on the other hand, forged its identity not on a racetrack, but through a revolution. In 1970, they launched the Range Rover, and for the very first time, rugged off-road mastery was combined with genuine comfort and refinement. They didn't just improve the category, they quietly went and invented a whole new one, the luxury SUV. So after all those years of building their own separate legends, the paths of these two brands finally start to cross. But this new shared ownership, well, it brought a period of both opportunity and a lot of uncertainty. This era kicked off under Ford's ownership. And look, the upside was they got access to global resources and a scale they could have only dreamed of before. But there's a catch. In that whole process of expansion, some of that distinct British clarity, that unique soul of each brand, started to get a little bit diluted. And that really set the stage for a reinvention that had to happen. And that need for a reinvention, it leads us right to a critical turning point. A single event that would completely change the trajectory of both brands and set them on the path they're on today. That moment, that turning point, it all happened in 1 year, 2008, right in the middle of a global financial crisis. A move that tons of people met with skepticism completely reshaped the future of these brands, the acquisition by India's Tata Motors. Tata's philosophy was just fundamentally different. It's summed up perfectly right here. Instead of control, Tata offered trust. Where previous owners had tried to sort of integrate the brands into a big global machine, Tata did the exact opposite. They believed that the unique British identity wasn't a problem to be solved, but the core asset to be unleashed. And the result of that trust was nothing short of a creative renaissance. I mean, this was a period of incredible revival. You had products like the Range Rover Evoque that completely redefined the idea of modern luxury, while Jaguar jumped right back to the front of innovation with the all-electric I-Pace, proving it could lead once again. This amazing revival brings us right up to today and to our final chapter. How does a company with such a deep, deep history get ready for a radically different future? Well, they call it reimagining a legacy. The company's reimagine strategy is basically built on three big pillars. First, and this is huge, a radical repositioning of Jaguar as an exclusively all-electric luxury brand. Second, establishing a house of brands to give each nameplate a crystal-clear identity. And third, a mission to define the very future of sustainable modern luxury. So this house of brands strategy structures the company around four distinct pillars. And the strategic genius here is just clarity. By separating these names, each can target a specific customer with a laser-focused message. No more of that brand dilution from the past. Range Rover is free to pursue pure luxury, while Defender can focus on rugged capability. It allows each one to be the purest, best version of itself. Which, leaves us with the central question for their future. It's the challenge that really ties their entire history, from sidecars and beach sketches to racetracks and royal estates, all together. Can a legacy built on petrol and steel truly be reimagined for an electric world? The story, well, it's still being